My name is Jill Smilo, and I am the chair of the No Place for Hate Committee here in Lexington. And I'd like to share with you a statement from my committee members, many of whom are here tonight. The members of Lexington's No Place for Hate Steering Committee met last Friday with the Armenian American residents and neighbors of our town, as you're doing here tonight, who presented their request that the town disassociate from the Anti-Defamation League, thus ending the No Place for Hate program in Lexington. A lengthy discussion among everyone present followed their presentation. While the Lexington No Place for Hate Steering Committee members recognized the Armenian genocide of the early 20th century as one of the world's greatest atrocities, the steering committee is not yet prepared to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen regarding severance from ADL and wishes to have further dialogue, discussion, and gather more information on this extremely important matter for our community before doing so. And I respectfully submit this on behalf of the Lexington No Place for Hate Steering Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Jill, I have a question. I need clarification. I think it would be beneficial for this group and perhaps the broader community to have a clearer understanding about the start of the No Place for Hate program, how it got underway here. Was it funded in any way by the ADL? And does it have a budget now? And how is the committee formed? How is it formed, and how are its members established? They're not appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Sort of. The No Place for Hate campaign, as it were, was initiated in 1999 in partnership with the Anti-Defamation League of New England, the Massachusetts Municipal Association, which is the organizing body of all town managers, the professionals and communities, as well as Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts, who became a corporate sponsor. And those three groups came together and decided that there was a real need to help communities develop grassroots programming around anti-bias, anti-hate, and pro-celebration of diversity in their various communities. There's really no direct funding. What has been beneficial to us as being part of No Place for Hate is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts has been a corporate sponsor. We have leadership in this community that understand what No Place for Hate is all about. But we were in a position 2 years ago when an outside group came to our community to really attack some neighbors of ours who are Christians in their churches. And No Place for Hate, along with other members of the community, including the Clergy Association and the police department, developed a really wonderful response to that made our community members, I think, feel more comfortable.
For instance, there was a film series at the library. So, I mean, the answer, I guess, if you'd like me to say, yes, public funds are being spent on some of the programs, and one of the creative opportunities that we have based on the members of the people who are on our committee, we've been able to sort of leverage those funds that are already being spent in our community to bring in a component of No Place for Hate.
Yeah, I would like to not have a debate this evening. This gentleman who's just come to the podium has raised his hand. He will be the last speaker, and I would really ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes.
My name is Nubar Afayan. I live on Sunset Ridge Road, lived here for 15 years. I just want to start by pointing out, and then I'll get on with my comments, that I think out of fairness, there's a lot of people here who had a lot to say. They were in fact cut off. And we've been listening for quite a long time about minutiae, if I may be permitted to say, that while important, I don't think speaks to the issue we're here. The gravity of what we're talking about and the details that we're talking about seem to me at great odds, and it makes the point as to why we're all here today. Otherwise, you'd have 2 people in the audience. I want to talk about 3 quick things. One is the irony that I find on this day that the entire news media is chastising the president of Iran for being a Holocaust denier, and where the president of Colombia has the strength to get up and in front of him tell him that he totally disagrees and that he finds it ridiculous that that's the position he's taken, that we're debating this issue. This is on the same day. The second thing I want to tell you is that you have a responsibility because we have a responsibility. We are your neighbors. We've lived here, and we are part of this community. That's why this is an important issue for you. And our responsibility is given to us by our grandparents who perished. So we live every day. You don't have to, but we live every day with this sense of responsibility. And all of us left our work and came here today to make sure you hear from their voices that this is not an issue you can duck. This is not an issue you can escape. This No Place for Hate program has now been compromised because of the ADL. It has lost its own moral authority to do the good work we just heard about. So rather than figuring out whether it has indeed been compromised or not, the right thing to do is to accept that it has and to reconstitute the good of it without having to try to save the bad of it. And I think that is much easier to do if they set out to do it. If they counteract it, we will expend infinite amounts of resources to be there in opposition. So what does it mean for a program to spread acceptance and in fact be the object of unacceptance from the community? How will they manage? Okay? Please don't applaud. I don't have any notes, but I'm going to stick to my 3 minutes as an example. I have one last point to say, which has to do with opportunity. So I talked about irony, I talked about responsibility. Let me talk about opportunity. You asked the right question. Who's supporting this program? And I suspect the ADL is supporting this program through materials, potentially through grants in the past that have now dissipated, etc. Let me tell you officially, only for Lexington, because that's where we live, that any amount of funding that is needed to keep this program going, I and any number of my friends will undertake open-endedly as long as you want. You do not need to lose this program. I'm telling you, you can hold my word to it, so the selectmen don't have to figure out where you're going to get $1,000 from the tax budget or the garbage budget that we keep fighting about. Take money out of this equation. And we don't have to do it by giving you grants every year, so if you don't like your position, we pull your grant. We'll put that in a trust, and then you can spend the money spreading the good of what you do and not the bad. But to be dependent financially, morally, and informationally on an organization that is itself compromised, I think is ill-advised. So please, when you deliberate, whenever you get to it, hopefully soon, don't have the financial issue, the fear that how is this going to be funded if the ADL is severed from this program, be any concern. Happy to give you, this is not this is not brinksmanship. I'm telling you, I would hate it on behalf of our ancestors that money that they all lost when this genocide happened, in fact comes to this day and becomes an object of this discussion. So please, don't raise funding as an objection. It should be a neutral party. Go to Facing History. You can get funding from there. Many of us fund that program. It's an excellent program. Maybe the Lexington Educational Foundation can step in. Many ways to do this. You don't have to have the ADL support to do this program. Thank you very much.